funny. Alright, well, I guess half my horn is being cut off because I don't know what to do. Hey everyone, it's Eva, and today we have a unicorn sweater because I don't know, are unicorns even in anymore? Who cares? Unicorns are cool. I like rainbows. I've grown an appreciation for a lot more brighter, well, not even bright, like pastel colors and just more colors in general rather than being black, white, gray, brown, tan, you know? I originally got this idea from Pinterest. I actually didn't see a unicorn sweater. I wasn't looking at unicorn sweaters, but I did see a watercolor type of pillow type of thing, and I was like, that's really cool. What if you added more colors to that, and then it kind of just looks like a unicorn? And then from there, I was like, hey, what if I made a unicorn sweater? And so that's where this idea came from. Whether or not more of these exist on the internet, I didn't bother looking. I just know that once I got the idea, I wanted to make it because I was like, this is gonna be a really cute sweater. And honestly, I wasn't sure how it's gonna turn out because I've never really done watercolor fabric paints on sweaters and stuff like that. Like, I've always wanted to experiment with making my own clothes and everything, but this is the first time and it actually turned out pretty good. And the sweater is absolutely perfect. I'm so happy that these things stay up and this horn looks amazing and the colors look great, and it's just, I'm so happy with the sweater. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a onesie because it's big enough to be a dress for me because I'm super short. I also feel like I make a lot of these animal type of sweaters. If you guys have been with me for a while, I don't know why I make them all hoodies. It's just, it looks cuter like that. I don't know. I guess let me know down below if you guys want to see more animal inspired or something inspired sweaters. Whatever you want me to turn into a sweater, let me know down below, as well as if you like unicorns. And I guess let's just get right into this video. First thing we need is a large white cotton sweater. Colors tend to adhere to cotton better than synthetic fabrics, or at least that's what the internet says when I googled. I bought mine off Wordans for about $20 since Walmart didn't have pullovers in white. I also made sure it was long enough to be a sweater dress because that's how I wanted it to look. And for those of you wondering, I'm 5 feet tall and a large men's sweater was the size that I used, if that kind of helps for comparison when you're ordering online. Now let me explain what the green stuff is on the hood. It's just painter's tape that happens to be green, and I used it to mark out where I want the horn and the ears to go for your unicorn sweater when I had the hood on. It's better to mark these things out while you wear it rather than when it's flat, just because everybody's head is shaped differently and you kind of want it to look normal. To mix the watercolor paint, I'm putting a little bit of red for pink, some teal, and a mix of red and blue for purple into some cups. This paint, by the way, is nearly a decade old, but I mean, it worked out fine for me. I also did squeeze some yellow, which I didn't end up using since I didn't want too many colors, and a little bit of white in everything, just to help lessen the intensity of the colors. They will be watered down anyways to get more of a pastel colors, but I just wanted to make sure the colors were super muted. Now we need some fabric medium to turn this into fabric paint because you really want the colors to adhere to the fabric. I also chose to buy this because it turns acrylic paint into fabric paint, and I figured it would be cheaper in the long run to use this compared to buying individual fabric paints for other projects. Just follow the directions according to whatever the back of the bottle says. Mine told me to mix a 1:1 ratio of paint to medium. Then add some water to water down the colors. The less water you use, the more intense the color will be. Before we start painting, protect your work surface. I'm using plastic grocery and shopping bags that I cut up because we'll be working with a lot of water, so you want to make sure that it definitely will not seep through anything. To avoid the paint leaking through to the other side of the sweater while we are painting, put a large plastic garbage bag or something waterproof inside. And yep, that's how I look like in my natural habitat. Hair up, glasses on, giant t-shirt, good to go. With the sweater laid flat, dampen it with water. I'm using a spray bottle to try and get an even coverage. It was a little difficult because my spray bottle is from the dollar store and it kind of sucked, but generally just try and get it damp. You can use a sponge if you'd like instead too. I did test the paint spreading with a few dots and found that the sweater needed more liquid to spread, so I did spray it with some more water. I also decided to spray the fabric with some more paint that was further diluted to have somewhat of a base to work with, so it's a lot less intimidating than plopping paint onto a completely white canvas. Then with a paintbrush, I started dabbing where I wanted the paint to go. This was really intimidating. I got really critical about this abstract paint plopping for no reason. Honestly, just don't stress about it as much as I did, because all you really have to do is just stop, breathe, take a step back, and realize that you don't have to be critical. It's abstract. It looks good if you're not too focused on the little details and, you know, staring up close and everything, trying to make the dots perfect, even though it's just literally just watercolor spread out. If you do want your colors to spread more, you can spray it with more diluted paint medium or water. If you want more of a water dropped effect, you can take your fingers and just splatter it onto the sputter as I am doing right now. And if you're really lazy, you can just dilute the paints a lot more and pour it directly from the bottle, and I find that this kind of gives it more of a blended look. And then just repeat the entire process on the other side just so that it's a rainbow all around. And ideally you'd probably want to wait for that one side to dry before you work on the other, but me being me, I'm very impatient and I'm kind of just like, let's just do it all in one go. By the way, when you're done and satisfied with all the colors, I'd really recommend that you lay flat to dry, because I hung mine and the colors all dripped down and made them mix together and go vertical, ruining all the work that I put into the pattern. But while that dries, we can work on the ears and horn. I'm using pink felt to cut out rounded triangles for the inside of the ears, and I'm just folding the fabric over just so that I can get identical rounded triangles, whatever shape they are. Then with some scrap white felt, I'm cutting out slightly larger rounded triangles. I'm using felt just because it's a lot stiffer so the ears will stay up easier, but you can use any other thicker fabric as well. With a needle and thread or fabric glue, attach the two pieces together to create ears. For the horn, take yellow felt or any gold sparkly fabric. I just used yellow felt since it was cheap and easy to get, but cut out a long triangle with a rounded bottom. When you roll it up, it should be your ideal horn shape, and then just sew along the side edges. Cut off as much fabric as you can from the tip if you do want a pointy tip, and then flip it inside out so that you get a cone shape. I'm using a small piece of fabric on the end of a needle and thread to keep the thread in, but this is totally optional. But thread it through the middle of the tip of the cone just so that the needle is coming out from the outside. Now just stuff your horn. I stuffed mine with excess fabric that I cut into little pieces just because I don't like to waste, but you can also use cotton or whatever stuffing you have available. Because I have a lot of tiny scraps of fabric in there and I don't want it to fall off while I'm trying to attach it later, I'm closing it off in a very impractical way. I realized that there was an easier way after, but it's okay, it's closed. That's all that matters. Now with that long piece of thread and needle that we threaded through the top earlier, take it and wrap it around the horn, pulling it tight, and this is just going to create the little spirals and make it more majestic looking. Then when you do get to the end of the horn, just sew it into place and tie a knot, and that's all there is to it. Just make sure it's secure. And now we can finally attach everything to the hood. So take off the painter's paints as you go, but use fabric glue or hand stitching to attach it all. You can also use a hot glue gun if you'd like as well. The only problem with that is that you can't really put this into the dryer after because it'll melt and deform and stick onto everything. It's a pretty big mess.
After that, before you forget, heat set the paint according to the paint medium directions. Typically you can do it by throwing it in the dryer or ironing it for a certain amount of time, but just read the back of the bottle and follow it accordingly. It is also recommended that you don't wash it for at least 2 weeks, but other than that, you are done.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please give me a big thumbs up. If you want to see more clothing DIY / fashion videos and some beauty here and there, make sure you subscribe because that's what I'm trying to do more. And it's supposed to help me learn how to sew, I think, because that's what I've always wanted to know and learn to do. It's just I never got around to it. So we're gonna learn how to sew and make clothes together. Don't forget to comment down below, letting me know if you guys like the sweater, and if you want me to make any other type of animals or things into sweaters, let me know and I'll see if I can work on it. And I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye!